Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our March 13th Burbank Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Board meeting. Why don't we all stand up and begin with a flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Mr. Chad Thompson, roll call.
Good evening, Chair Ara Masurlian.
Here.
Vice Chair Ashley Ramsey.
Here.
Board Member Maisha Gamino.
Here.
Board Member Robbie Brody.
Here.
Board Member Mickey DiPaolo.
Here.
Thank you.
I'd like to now invite Ms. Alexa Reyes to give our announcements.
Good evening, Chair Ara Masurlian and members of the board. Thank you everyone joining us this evening. My name is Alexa Reyes, Food Services Supervisor in the Parks and Recreation Department. Tonight, I have the pleasure of sharing the department's program announcements and updates. Please begin the slideshow. I Spy Burbank. The Centennial Celebration continues this March with the New Agents of Discovery mission. Embark on an augmented reality experience at George Isay Park while discovering fun facts and hidden gems. Get ready to explore, play, and celebrate Burbank's 100th year in a whole new way. For details, visit your local recreation center or www.burbankca.gov/parks100. Centennial Photo Contest. Help us bring the Centennial theme to life by entering our Centennial Photo Contest for a chance to see your photo featured on the cover of the 2025 Summer Recreation Guide. Now is the time to look through your pictures and start to take new ones that show what Parks and Rec means to you. To view contest rules and to apply, please visit burbankca.gov/parks100. All submissions are due by March 26, 2025. Centennial Merch. You can also celebrate with us by purchasing our limited time Centennial merchandise. These items feature our special Parks and Recreation Centennial logo. T-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and water bottles, and more will be available for pre-order or may be purchased at select events. Please visit www.burbankca.gov/parks100 to view all items that are available for purchase. Dig Day. We are seeking volunteers for our next Dig Day on April 5th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at McCambridge Park. Lend a helping hand by cleaning up litter, weeding, and planting. To register for this event, visit www.burbankparks.com. Saturday Skate Fever. Calling all skaters. Join us for a free skate day at Valley Skate Park on April 5th, 2025 from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. This event is open to all skating levels and completely free of charge. Come enjoy an evening of fun on wheels where you can showcase your skills or just have a good time rolling around. We're also serving up free barbecue. You won't want to miss our opportunity raffle where you can win some fantastic prizes. Registration is not required for this event. Visit www.burbankca.gov/skatepark to learn more. Stowe Canyon Nature Center. Nature is calling and adventure awaits. Bring your little explorers to Stowe Canyon Nature Center this March for exciting activities designed for young nature lovers. Join us for a nature journaling class on March 19th, Story Owl Hour on March 27th, and the Wild Creatures Walk Hike on March 30th. Don't miss out on these fun and educational experiences. To learn more and register, visit burbankparks.com. Moonlight Hike. Join us for a moonlight hike on March 14th. Enjoy a unique evening workout while basking in the full moon's glow. Times vary depending on sunset. Visit burbankparks.com for details and to register. Don't miss your chance to experience nature in a whole new light. 2025 Youth Art Expo. Join us at the Burbank Creative Arts Center from April 4th to April 25th for the 2025 Youth Art Expo, celebrating 100 years of play with a stunning display of artwork by students from grades TK through 12. The expo kicks off with opening receptions, grades TK through 5 on Friday, April 7th, and grades 6 through 12 on Saturday, April 5th. Don't miss this opportunity to explore and celebrate the creativity of Burbank's young artists. For more details, visit www.burbankca.gov BLCAC. Animal Shelter 50% off adoptions. Looking for your next best friend? We have great news. The Burbank Animal Shelter is currently offering 50% off adoption fees for all animals now until March 22nd. Visit the shelter at 1150 North Victory, Burbank, California 91502, Tuesday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. to adopt your next furry family member. Follow us. Stay in the loop with the latest Parks and Rec updates by connecting with us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you. This concludes the department announcements.
Thank you so much for that. Next, we have an exciting announcement, or presentation rather, that I'd like to invite Noah Altman.
All right. Good evening, Chairman Surley and members of the board. My name is Noah Altman, Recreation Services Manager in the Parks and Recreation Department. And I'm here to celebrate the partners, sponsors, and volunteers who participated in making the Burbank Adaptive Sports Expo event a success this year. So last year, through collaboration with multiple organizations, an internal planning committee, the Parks and Recreation Department successfully offered the inaugural Burbank Adaptive Sports Expo in February of 2024, which was under the leadership of former Recreation Services Manager Jennifer Lev. This year, it was my pleasure to assume the role of leading the efforts for the second annual Burbank Adaptive Sports Expo, also known as BASE for short, which took place on Saturday, February 15th, 2025, and celebrated adaptive athletes of all ages and abilities through participatory events, demonstrations, and a robust resource and information fair. To begin, I would like to take a minute to recognize the amazing staff that served on the event planning committee and played a vital role in its success. So first off, some of them are here, some of them aren't, but here we have a interim Recreation Services Manager, Jonathan McGinley. Woo! I'm not here tonight, but I'm sure watching at home, Recreation Supervisor Kim Freed. In attendance, we have Aquatics Supervisor Kasem Talbot. Recreation Coordinator Christina Lara. Executive Assistant Chad Thompson. Not in attendance, but these two played a vital role in all of our marketing efforts. Graphics media designer Tony Rodriguez. And administrative analyst Loreno Romero. And the list keeps growing, so we also have with us Colin Griffin, played a great role. And next to Colin, we have Edgar Manukian. He forgot his orange shirt. And last but not least, our Assistant Director, Diego Ceballos, who helped us lead the charge. So thank you all for all your hard work and dedication, making this event a memorable experience for the adaptive sports community. The initial vision and goal for the BASE program was to create an event focused on adaptive sports activities in an effort to bridge together resources of various organizations and showcase diverse program offerings. The department successfully continued key partnerships with organizations to assist with the planning and logistics in running a large-scale adaptive sports event. These partnerships included Andrew Skinner and Randy Reyes with the Triumph Foundation, Alvin Malave and Tyler Rawls with the Angel City Sports Organization, Joseph Burton and Raquel De Cepeda with Hearts for Sight, multiple members of the Burbank Advisory Council on Disabilities, and Steve Starleaf and Mina Vial-Hahong with the Burbank Tennis Center. So all these played a vital role with the development of the inaugural one last year and continued their efforts, adding some new groups with the coordination this year. So just want to take a moment to thank all of them for their efforts. This year, we once again activated the entirety of McCambridge Park, including the Recreation Center, ball fields, Burbank Tennis Center, and aquatics facility. Through the coordination of over 13 organizations, including community groups, nonprofits, and individuals, we provided 18 diverse adaptive sports activities all in one centralized space. And these activities included wheelchair rugby, power chair wheelchair soccer, wheelchair basketball, para-fencing, chair yoga, adaptive martial arts, visually impaired soccer, visually impaired tennis, adaptive disc golf, adaptive park and play games, adaptive proper golf, wheelchair tennis, adaptive pickleball, tennis for persons with Down syndrome, and as well as autism, and adaptive swim and scuba diving demonstrations. So we activated the whole entire park. Every recreational space was filled with different activities that all adaptive athletes and able-bodied participants were welcome to try out and learn about. 2025 also marks the Parks and Recreation centennial year, as we kicked off our celebration with a ribbon cutting of the brand new McCambridge Playground, which is now known as the Centennial Playground. And this playground features a variety of adaptive and accessible playground equipment for children of all abilities to enjoy. To help kick off this milestone, the nationally recognized adaptive dance team, the Rollettes, performed during our opening ceremonies. The Los Angeles Galaxy Soccer Club also joined the festivities by bringing their 2024 Major League Soccer Championship Cup for display and photo opportunities. In addition, the event secured 23 event sponsors and boosted a popular vendor booth area, and a grand total of over $13,000 was contributed by our generous sponsors. So let's give a round of applause to all the sponsors. This year we saw over 240 registered participants, over 60 volunteers, and over 3,000 people visited the park that day. So that was, all the numbers were up from last year, so we're happy to build on the success year after year, as this will be an annual event. We are proud to say this event was a huge success and very proud moment for the city of Burbank. The Parks and Recreation Department is dedicated to continuing to champion diverse program offerings, inclusivity, and the transformative power of adaptive sports in our city for the community. So with that, I'd like to invite Chair Maserlian down to assist with some certificates to once again recognize the partners, the sponsors, and the volunteers who made this event a success.
Thank you, Noah. Sports is for everyone, right? And athletics is for everyone. Playgrounds are for everyone. And I think Burbank does a great job of recognizing this through events such as the Adaptive Sports Expo. As you can see, the new McCambridge Playground. Just amazing stuff. And so Burbank, thank you for the staff, all the volunteers, community partners, sponsors who continue to help us out and support us and showcase Burbank as a leader within this space. And just thank you for everyone. I know it takes a village to put this all together, so Diego and the rest of your entire team, I'm not going to name everyone right now, but thank you for putting this all together, and Marissa, just for championing this. So thank you so much. Myself and a few of our board members were able to attend the event. I believe the mayor was also there. So just support from leadership in the city is there as well. So just thank you. And I'm just so happy to see, like what you said, 18 sports. It's incredible just to see all that come together and giving these kids and adults and teenagers just an opportunity to see that, hey, like I can play too. So thank you for that. With that, I'd like to recognize some folks that were instrumental in putting this all together. So the first group I'd like to recognize are our community partners, whose expertise in coordinating, providing adaptive sports programming have been vital to the success of Burbank Adaptive Sports Expo for these last 2 years. So the first one I'd like to invite is the Triumph Foundation. Oh, well, they're not here. The next one is Hearts for Sight. Thank you. Are we going to do at the end? Thank you. Yeah, we'll do a photo afterwards. Next one is Angel City Sports. Okay. Burbank Tennis Center. We'll recognize them as well. They worked so hard that they needed a little break, so we'll give them an excuse. The Burbank Advisory Council on Disabilities. So thank you to our community partners. Next, I'd like to recognize our sponsors. Their generous contributions greatly enhanced this year's event, helping raise the profile and expand the reach of this great event. First, I'd like to recognize at the home run level, Rec West Outdoor Products. Not here? Okay. And also at the home run level, the Warner Brothers Discovery. At the triple level, Gain Federal Credit Union. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Also at the triple level, Musco Lighting. Okay. Riot Society Clothing. Okay. Raising Cane's. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Yes, please stand up. And last but not least, the Gregos family. Okay. At the double level, they are not present, but we're going to recognize, because of their contributions and support, the Bridging Community Resources, Fleet Feet, Luskin Orthopedic Institute for Children, and UMI Credit Union. And at the single level, Brennan Construction, Burbank Noon Lions, Leadership Burbank, and Rise Physical Therapy. And again, not in attendance, but very, very, very important to the success of this event are our volunteers. So last but not least, this event would not be possible without the time, effort, and engagement from the dedicated volunteers. In addition to the volunteers, each organization running the sports brought several individuals participated in this event through assisting with the check-in process, wayfinding at checkpoints, setting up and running the various sports and activities, and rooting on the athletes. So thank you. Let's give an applause to all the volunteers. So now I think it's time for the photo. Oh, and this is a tradition we do here. We get the entire board to come up and we take a picture so we can all take it together. So come on up, guys. Yeah. Leadership Burbank? Is that yours? Everyone, I think we might have to come in a little bit. Hold up those certificates so everyone can see. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. All right. Next order of business, I'd like to introduce Ms. Maria Garcia for the director report.
Good evening, Chairman Sterling and board members. I do not have a director's report for you this evening.
Thank you. All right. Now is the time for general public comment. For members of the public who are in person and wish to speak, please present a completed yellow general public comment card to the recording secretary. Any person speaking during the general public comment may address the board on any matter related to the Parks and Recreation Board. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. In order to promote fairness, please stay within your maximum allotted time of 3 minutes. A timer is available on the podium to help the speaker keep track of how much time is left. Please state your name for the record. I also encourage you to call in during the general public comment period at 818-238-3335. Callers will be placed in a queue until all in-person comments have been received. For callers, please remember to lower the volume on your TV or computer and take your phone off speaker when you deliver your comment. At this time, we will begin with our in-person comments, and the first person is our good friend, Mr. Eric Hawk.
Hey, everybody. Hey, greetings to the members of the Burbank Parks and Rec Board, terrific city staff, and others who've taken time out of their day to participate in this evening's meeting. For the record, my name is Eric Hawk. I'm the current president of the Board of Directors for the Burbank Community Band. Last month, I had an opportunity to only provide a brief teaser of the band's upcoming annual concert. Today, I can speak a little bit more at length. On Saturday, April 12th at 2 p.m., the Burbank Community Band will perform a terrific free show at Burbank High School. The band will be celebrating its 85th year since it was first founded by employees of the Lockheed Corporation right here in Burbank in 1940. The sound of Burbank is meant to be a love letter to our hometown of Burbank, celebrating not the band's own history, but the fascinating eras that Burbank has experienced while the band has been rehearsing and performing in this community. The band will highlight music from Lockheed's days of manufacturing planes in the war effort, the creativity and imagination that burst forth from Disney and NBC and Warner Brothers studios here in making this the media capital of the world here. The band will also use music to highlight the car culture that is part of Burbank's past and present. We also have some terrific music that'll celebrate wonderful and talented musicians that spend a few hours in Burbank every Friday morning rehearsing. emceeing our concert will be someone familiar across Los Angeles and especially here in Burbank. It's NBC's own weatherman Fritz Coleman will be our MC. The band, led by our conductor Michael Stanley, has been perfecting some wonderful pieces, including a high-energy score from Warner Brothers' swashbuckler 1940 film The Seahawk. With guest pianist and our expert lead clarinetist, we will celebrate the 100th anniversary of Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. And the band even has a newly commissioned piece that ties to a movie filmed here in Burbank at the Lockheed plant that for a brief moment shows the musicians of Lockheed playing for their co-workers at a lunch break there. So I'm excited, and I hope I've gotten y'all excited about this concert that is being funded in part by the Burbank Arts Grant. Once again, that's Saturday, April the 12th at 2 p.m. at Burbank High School. I plan to be back at the board's meeting next month here in April, and I hope to see y'all there. And then I also definitely hope to see y'all on April 12th at 2 p.m. at Burbank High School for the Sound of Burbank concert there. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. Next up, we have David Donahue.
Good evening, Chair, board members, staff, both in front of me and those behind me. Thank you very much for your work and your service. My name is David Donahue. A couple things. I was lucky enough to be asked to participate in a kind of an overview of the Starlight Bowl's kind of configuration. So I'm not sure if you've all seen that. But it's very exciting. So I gave some feedback to the consultant, kind of saying, hey, here's some things that might be good to kind of, consider. The contractor was also very nice to be able to say, hey, if we want to have any sort of small, more intimate gatherings, we can help facilitate that. So I bring that up, and I'm here tonight because, after hearing that, I believe that all of the Starlight Bowl's events have been canceled because of the damage due to the windstorms, and that's truly regrettable. It is an opportunity for the city to kind of pull our resources together and try to figure out how we're going to do a multi-million-dollar, tens of millions of dollars rebuild on the Starlight Bowl. I think it's a true gem of the city. I will do everything I can to advocate for its continued development and improvement. And I know it's going to be a big lift. I know you have a lot of things to do. So myself, members of my multiple coalitions are here to say that we're going to help you all in whatever way we can and to support that. Also, the adaptive sports is just a fabulous thing. I love coming to these, not reading the agenda completely, but then being able to see the tremendous work that goes into those efforts. And so I applaud the staff and everybody that went into it. It is really an exciting thing to be able to witness. And then also, Mr. Eric Hawk, I have the privilege of listening to him in city council chambers advertising what the Burbank Band is doing, and they truly are a bunch of talented individuals. So again, applaud his efforts as well. And thank you again for your service to the city of Burbank. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, David. All right. And last but not least, we have John Buckingham.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Board members, Director, staff, Burbank residents, and all in attendance. My name is John Elliott Buckingham. I'm a proud resident of the Burbank Junction, Cambridge neighborhood for the past 7.5 years. First, I want to acknowledge the stunning new Performing Arts Center you're building in Basketball Center. These incredible facilities, along with the walkways, and offer many naming opportunities. I recall the chair also mentioning something about the green space along Olive. I suggest maybe putting a marquee there to advertise for marketing for their programs. As I reviewed tonight's agenda, I found it difficult to differentiate between projects listed under project updates, perhaps using columns or maybe a simple comma to help for projects won't get lost or overlooked, just like the Dick Clark Dog Park. Over the past year, I've watched that dog park timeline shift from fall opening to a winter opening to a spring 25. Concerned about these delays, I reached out to Burbank's Park and Rec and emailed them. When I received a response it also included stuff about the Performing Arts Center, my primary inquiry was about the dog park was left unanswered. For 6 months, the dog park has not been mentioned in department operations or on the agenda here. The two references I found were in the approved budget line saying an opening of December 24th, 2024 and November 2024, tucked away in the Burbank Master Plan. It said that it is a priority to continue the development of the Dick Clark Dog Park. The master plan says it's as a future park. According to the park's website, it's been for 27 years we've been talking about this. Summer of 24 is the last entry. Says staff is working on finalizing construction documents and requests for bids have been sent out. However, in December 24, I visited the location and I was really happy to see a sign saying spring of 25. I saw this beautiful sign and got really excited, but also very sad, knowing that my 16-year-old dog Bruno would not be here to see it. On January 1st at 3:30 p.m., Bruno passed away in my arms. He is loved by family and neighbors of the 3rd Street and Bethany Road. On January 30th, I drove past the future dog park again. Sad reality set in and it remains empty dirt lot, crumbling sign, in less than 7 weeks till spring. There's no visible progress, but it's still be done, or perhaps maybe Tinkerbell can help with some fairy dust from our magical neighborhood friend, Disney. I apologize for that sarcasm. But it's frustrating when it's so difficult to build a small dog park, and I've seen in 7 years completed massive projects like the Empire Underpass, the Burbank Bridge replacement, and major alignments along I-5. I understand those are complex undertakings, but less than a 1 acre dog park still remains stalled. After my email, I did notice that the website now says dog park coming soon, and the sign is gone at the Riverside location. At this time, I'm going to end. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Appreciate your coming up here and talk to us. Okay. Let's open up to our board members for a response to any of the public comments. Robert?
Yes, so if I may provide a response, we too share in the community's frustration with the delays of the construction of the dog park. The project requires approval from the City of Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, as that part of the park is part of the Griffith Park Trust. So we are required to go through approval process through the City of LA. It's close to the high tension power line, so it's going through both their electrical and their water division's approval. We have been, the process has taken well over a year for the City of Los Angeles to approve the plans. There's one outstanding comment or requirement of ours, which would make the project unfeasible. So I can let the board know that my staff has been following up with LA DWP staff. Our city manager, we drafted a letter for our city manager. Again, we're trying to do the best we can in terms of getting approval from the City of Los Angeles. And so that's where we stand right now. Once we get approval from the City of Los Angeles, it should be it's a very simple project in that there's no demolition, right? It's already graded. It would be a matter of installing the irrigation, planting trees, building the parking lot. So it would be a very short time frame for construction. But right now we are stuck with the City of Los Angeles. And so I can share with the board that I believe it was 3 weeks ago, we did get some final acknowledgement from the City of Los Angeles that their requirement or the request for modification was not feasible, and so they are re-looking at their request. So again, I completely understand. I can tell you that the community has asked the city for a dog park for probably 30 years. For those of you that may remember, we went through this process back when Judy Wilkie was our director. We engaged the community. We looked for various sites, and that was that site that was identified for the development of the dog park. Staff on Burbank side, we've moved very quickly on it. We have a sponsorship, which is Carrie Clark, the widow of Dick Clark. And, I update her monthly on the status. So there's a lot of people that are, very anxious for this project, including staff. And so we're doing the best we can to get approval from LA. And I will, the sign was removed because it did say spring 2025. And we wanted to, I think we're having the sign redone. I get that the community gets frustrated when it has a fall 20, or a certain date. But at this point, because it's unknown, we don't want to have misinformation out there. So coming soon was the best we could. There is a QR code, and I think there's a website that will be updating when we have some information. And once we get approval, and once we know with some certainty what that opening date is, we will make sure to put that on the fencing.
Thank you, Marissa.
Sure.
Quick question, and apologies if I don't know the protocol here on this, but I'm assuming there's plenty of folks like John that probably are hoping and expecting. And is there a way to? I know your explanation was very thorough, but obviously lengthy. But is there a way to summarize that and do some sort of communication to the community just to give them that update, just so they're not kind of left in the dark? Again, I don't know the protocol on that, but
Certainly.
Is that an opportunity? I don't know if it's through social, it's something on the website, just somewhere where someone like John can see it and go, okay, so here's the reason why. I'll hang tight as long as I can.
Certainly, we can communicate that the project is pending approval from LA City. But we don't have, which we're happy to do that. I know people are going to ask when is that expected?
Right.
And so it's, could we put something out on social media just to kind of let the community know?
Just the way that
Sure.
It's not looking like, our department is stalling it, just saying we're ready to go, we're just waiting on this approval from the city. And again, I know you don't want to blame the city of LA or anything, but
Correct.
just some sort of explanation, just so people maybe get a little more comfortable with it.
And we do. When we get emails or calls, that's the information we share with them, letting them know that we're awaiting approval from the City of Los Angeles. And that's essentially it. I gave you a lot more detail, but absolutely, we're just waiting for the City of Los Angeles' approval.
Mickey.
Thank you, Marissa. And thanks to the gentleman for coming tonight and expressing his concerns. It's awful about your dog, 16 years old. It's a wonderful life, so I'm sure you miss him. So, and my sincere sympathy. Is there now? Is the city of LA they're balking at that location, or?
No, it's just it's some requests and that they're asking for, and I'm not the project manager, so I don't want to misspeak. But just like any, you submit plans for approval, and different departments have different requirements, and so one of the requirements would make the project would be cost prohibitive. So we have an alternate, right? So we came back and said, here's another way that we can accomplish LA's a goal, and it was being reviewed.
Marissa,
Sure.
I know Maisha wants to.
I was just saying, I know that this is not on the agenda,
Yeah,
so I would love if we can add this. I know that's not quite time to add items to the agenda, but I would love to add this to the agenda so we can speak about it more.
Yeah, and I apologize. There is one phone, someone waiting on the phone, so I do want to get to them, and then we'll respond to the public comments after that. So we'll go to the phone comment.
We have Glenn on the phone. Glenn, please go ahead.
Very important subject of adaptive sports in Burbank. My name is Glenn Gregus, and I'm a lifelong Burbank resident and member of the Burbank Advisory Council on Disabilities. In 1973, I was involved in an accident, and ever since I've been a wheelchair user. It's now over 52 years since my accident and disability. Over the last 52 years, the country has changed a lot, and many changes were put in place to help the disabled. Continuing to be physically active is extremely important for those of us with a disability in order to maintain our health. I commend the Burbank Parks Board and the entire Parks and Recreation Department for implementing many adaptive sports activities and offerings for the disabled. For the past 2.5 years, Diego has been dedicated in making sure adaptive recreational activities were incorporated into the park's programs. It's completely heartwarming observing the current adaptive sports activities offered. The recent Sports Expo was excellent, and each week specific activities for the disabled are offered. These activities include wheelchair rugby, adaptive fencing, wheelchair powerball, that are among many other Burbank activities that are helping the disabled. Thank you again to the Burbank Parks Board, along with all the department staff, and specifically to Marissa, Diego, and this year Noah, in making this all a reality in Burbank. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Glenn. Really appreciate you calling in. I'm going to go back to Mickey. I know he had some more comments they wanted to address.
Thank you. Real quick, getting back to the dog park. Now, Dick Clark family, was it 150,000 that they were donating?
Yes, and also just kind of want to circle back. We're happy to put this on the agenda for the next meeting and provide a much more thorough update on the project.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Park Board, any other comments?
No, I'll just clarify the pause on this is only because of the Brown Act issue, is that we were having a Brown Act matter and discussing something that's not agendized. So just so that there's clarification for the community, we will put this back on the agenda. Thank you for bringing this up to us. I appreciate it. I just wanted to make sure that you knew it wasn't because we want to pause it. It's because we have a legal obligation to do so. Thank you.
Thanks. I just wanted to thank the speaker because for bringing that up. That's something we're always talking about, and we'll have that on our agenda for next month. So thank you for coming out and sharing those comments.
Yeah, thank you, John. Anything else?
I'll just add that I I love our Starlight Bowl too. So thank you, Mr. Donahue, for also speaking. Donahue, right? Did I remember that right? Thank you for your comments. I really do appreciate. They're very thoughtful. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and I know we're all saddened by the Starlight Bowl not happening this summer, but I know the staff is working hard to kind of come up with some alternative plans, and I think they're going to be pretty cool. If you know, and I think it's actually going to be interesting to see how those play out, because I've always said we should try concerts in the park. So it'd be cool to see kind of how it plays out. So I mean, obviously we're all devastated that the Starlight Bowl won't happen, but maybe another opportunity to see how other kind of things work while the Starlight Bowl is being reimagined, and you know, it's a gem in our city. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you, and thank you to Mr. Donahue. I did want to add that in addition to having some concerts in the parks, we do plan to have a community 4th of July celebration. Again, it will be different, but we just ask the community to be on the lookout for all of our marketing and social media and announcements at the board once we finalize all the plans. Thank you.
Perfect. That sounds great. Marissa, do we have any written communication?
Yes, there were 2 pieces of written communication that was received. I believe that those have been provided to the board. Both were in response to the Burbank Adaptive Sports Expo with the community members expressing positive feedback on that.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Park Board, any comments, any liaison assignment updates? With that, let's move on to our new business. The first one is our budget update for fiscal year 2025-26, and I'd like to introduce Ms. Dina Moon.
All right. Good evening, Chairman Serlian and members of the board. Dina Moon, Senior Administrative Analyst, and I'll be presenting the budget update for fiscal year 2025-26. Tonight's presentation will cover the following topics: budget basics, including background, the process and funding breakdown, parameters, deadlines, capital improvement projects, and important dates. The Parks and Recreation Department strives to be the heart of the community by providing enriching opportunities through dedicated staff, beautiful parks, and inspiring programs. The department is organized into 4 divisions: administration and facility operations, recreation services, landscape and forestry services, and community services. The department also provides a variety of recreational community programs, including special interest classes, youth and adult sports programs, day camps, after-school programs, nature programs, cultural arts activities, a congregate and home-delivered meal program, aquatics, senior recreation activities, volunteer programs for residents of all ages, and year-round community events. Annual fiscal year budget planning begins in early January. The budget division of our finance department prepares an annual budget guide providing detailed instructions and assistance to each department with the preparation of their respective budgets. Altogether, this process takes approximately 5 months. Burbank uses a combined program and line item budget format. This is designed to provide comprehensive management control and a financial planning system. This format is aimed at achieving goals and objectives at the operational levels that are consistent with the City Council's policies and annual work program. The budgeting process is generally an incremental one, which starts with a historical-based budget. Requests for changes and appropriations are made at the departmental level and are initially compiled and reviewed by the budget division. The city manager reviews all of the requests and ensures that all budget decisions are in full accordance with stated city council policies and all applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations prior to council review. The department employs nearly 350 people during its peak programming season and has an annual general fund operating budget of just over $36 million. Please note before you, the department's general fund budget is listed as 31.9, which is incorrect. That was actually last year's budget. This year's budget is 24-25 is 36 million. The department also has a budget of just over 1.8 million in Fund 534, which is utilized for infrastructure maintenance and capital improvement, while a general fund supports the department's programs and services. This graphic shows a breakdown of all the city department's general fund budgets from our current fiscal year 24-25. This graphic shows a breakdown of general fund revenue sources for the city. And here's a list of all budget funds. As mentioned before, the general fund and municipal infrastructure funds are the department's primary funding sources. The department also utilizes Fund 127 when appropriate, which are generated from development impact fees. Prior to the start of the budget process, the city manager reviews the 5-year forecast to set parameters for the new fiscal year. At that time, procedures are established to guide budget staff and other departments in their review and submission of budget requests, specifically new positions and upgrades, changes to material, supplies, and services referred to as MS&S, capital outlay requests, and capital improvement projects which require special consideration. Our city manager established the following parameters for fiscal year 25-26, which is very comparable to our current budget fiscal year. So all requests must be supported by enhanced revenues and/or offsetting reductions in other accounts. Estimated revenue enhancements will be counted for a 2-for-1 basis. Priority for items that support council and labor initiatives. And requests to replace fully depreciated assets will be accepted, which is referred to as our capital outlay program. Our first budget deadline was January 31st, which included our material, supplies, and service requests, new or upgraded position requests, and our capital outlay requests. A few of our department requests include park patrol program, mobile security cameras, day camp expansion, staffing and supplies, expansion of aquatic staffing, programming, and contract instruction, animal shelter staffing, contract services and operations, funding for mayor's tree lighting, DeBell Golf Course operating expenses, contractual obligation increases based on CPI, nutrition program staffing, aquatic slides maintenance, Burbank community sport events, and our Burbank Arts Utility Box Beautification Program, Phase 9. The second budget deadline was February 12th, and that included our budget worksheet updates, budgeted position changes, revenue projection, and fee schedule changes. During the budget cycle, the department has the opportunity to evaluate positions and submit for position titles or costing changes to improve department staffing efficiencies where needed. An important basis of the budget process is projecting revenues and increasing fees as appropriate. Annually, the department evaluates and forecasts revenue estimates based on historical data, fee increases, as well as expected changes to programming and participation. The citywide fee schedule is adopted annually by council during the budget process. This comprehensive document includes a categorical listing of fees such as those related to permits, facility rentals, land use and zoning, just to name a few. Our third budget deadline is March 28th and will include agreements and contract lists as well as our department narratives. The agreements and contract list is just a summary of existing or new agreements or contracts for consulting, design, or other professional services. This list is used to inform purchasing that the item was approved by City Council during the budget adoption process. Our department narratives are printed in the budget book, and it provides a quick snapshot of how department section funds are allocated and spent. And it highlights any changes made from prior year's budget, just to document the changes. The Capital Improvement Program, referred to as CIP, remains a vital component of our annual budget process. A separate CIP budget serves as the city's strategic capital improvement plan, depicting the total investment required for current and anticipated capital projects for the next 5 years. The Infrastructure Oversight Board, referred to as IOB, was created to provide oversight on expenditures for the city's infrastructure by reviewing and recommending projects to the City Council for funding. As such, the department's CIP requests were initially reviewed on February 27th and will have final plan approval on March 27th. Annually, the department coordinates a Parks and Recreation Board facility tour to review the department's infrastructure and maintenance needs. The purpose of this tour is to provide the board with the opportunity to visit facilities, parks, and amenities. This is also an opportunity for the board to learn more about department programming. During the October 3rd tour, staff provided updates on completed improvements and discussed future enhancements. In preparation of the annual CIP submission process for 25-26, the department evaluated the unfunded needs list, which includes playground, park, and ball field lighting modernization, shade structure replacements, to name a few. This year, the deadline to submit our CIPs was scheduled for early December. The department assessed and prioritized the needs based on identified the following projects for funding consideration. Yep. Olive Recreation Center and Theater building replacement, Gross Park ball field lighting modernization at both fields, Gross Park ball field shade structure at both fields, Valley Skate Park shade structure, DeBell Clubhouse Sierra Room expansion design phase, McCambridge and Lundigan Park bathroom renovation design phase, and continuation of the following projects include our Starlight Bowl transformation, McCambridge pool replacement, animal shelter kennel flooring, DeBell Golf Course improvements, Johnny Carson Park shade structure, and Burbank Channel Bikeway public art. Proposed funding for all projects derives from multiple funding sources that include development impact fees, municipal infrastructure fund, as well as grant funding. These projects were selected based on the department, board, and community identified needs. This includes improving safety, general enhancements, improving efficiency, replacing outdated or worn amenities, and overall enhanced park infrastructure. Listed on this slide are upcoming important dates related to our budget process. This list includes information for IOB meeting dates for review of CIPs, as well as City Council dates dedicated for reviewing and approving the budget. This concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Dina. Park Board, any comments, questions?
Thank you.
No, I don't have anything myself. That was pretty thorough, so appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dina. All right, let's move on to our next line item of new business. Update on facility or future park naming in honor of Dewey Kruckberg. I'd like to introduce Ms. Megan Wilkie.
Good evening, Chairman Serlian, members of the board, Megan Wilkie, Administrative Analyst with the Parks Department. Tonight, I'm here to provide an update on the potential naming of a facility or future park in honor of Dewey Kruckerberg. At the November 14th, 2024 board meeting, board member Mickey DiPaolo requested an update on the progress of recognizing Mr. Kruckerberg's contributions to our community and our department. This conversation dates back to 2016 when the board initially recommended renaming Brace Canyon Park and installing an art piece in his honor. Following that recommendation, the board approved a naming of facilities application, which is the formal process of naming a facility, in June of 2016. However, during a board study session later that year in December, the board reconsidered its decision due to cost concerns and decided to explore alternative options before making a final recommendation to City Council. In 2017, the board revised its final recommendation to the City Council, recommending the approval of a facility naming request to name a future park in honor of Dewey Kruckerberg. City Council approved the request and expanded it further to include the option of naming a future park or facility after Mr. Kruckerberg. This change was made to avoid the complexities of renaming an existing park or facility and to ensure that naming costs could be included in the budget of a new project. While no new parks or facilities have been identified for this purpose since that time, staff has continued to explore opportunities to honor Mr. Kruckerberg's legacy. This brings us back to Board Member DiPaolo's request for an update. One potential opportunity staff has identified is a future park development for the area above Reservoir 1 adjacent to Palm Ball Field located at 1125 East Orange Grove Avenue. It's on the cross streets of Sunset Canyon and Orange Grove up in the mountains. This site was previously identified as a potential park location by former BWP General Manager Ron Davis. Staff would like to revisit the idea pending the board's input. Additionally, in recognition of Mr. Kruckerberg's significant impacts on Burbank's parks planning and development, staff is considering incorporating adaptive features into the park as part of the tribute. While this concept is in its very early stages, it would align with Mr. Kruckerberg's vision for inclusive and innovative recreation. Notably, any naming costs for this future park would be included in the overall project budget. So tonight we're here seeking the board's input on whether to move forward with this idea. And if the board is supportive, staff will proceed with evaluating the project's feasibility, identifying potential funding sources, and working with BWP to ensure compliance with state water regulations. So with your support, we'll continue exploring these viable options, and we'll return to the board with updates and recommendations. Thank you. This concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Megan. Real quick question on that ballpark that you guys had recommended, the one up on Orange Grove and Sunset Canyon. What is the potential timeline of that park, just out of curiosity?
Right now, we're unsure of any timeline.
Okay.
So this is in the infancy stages.
Got it. Okay.
So we would have to connect with BWP, talk about feasibility, project funding, and then we would have a better understanding of timeline.
Thank you very much. I'd like to open up the board, but I know, Mickey, this was something that was important for you, so I'd love to hear your input or your feedback.
Well, it's, we brought it up. Excuse me, thank you. When we brought this back up in 2016, we mentioned some of Mr. Kruckerberg's credentials, so to speak, and initially, like I said, we came up with Brace Park, but I'm not really sure what the cost was prohibitive. As far as I don't know what the costs entail, but it was decided to postpone it, and it may be this passive park, and I don't know exactly where it's located, but this was also in 2017 when we decided to do this. Now, that's located where, Marissa? I'm sorry.
It is next to Palm Ball Field. So next to Palm Ball Field, there is a water reservoir. It's a large area of land, and similar to like Brace ball fields that are built on top of a water reservoir. The thought would be to expand, north of the ball field, right, and build a passive park. And with all of the adaptive programming that we're doing, just initial staff's kind of brainstorming would be to really to have many features at that park be for adaptive, right? That space will allow for a parking lot, a restroom building, in addition to a park.
But that would be years down the line.
Yes.
Yeah, years.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just some of. I just want to mention Mr. Kruckerberg out of respect to what he did. He was a real visionary man. When Olive Recreation Center during World War II was a USO building, he augmented their staff with park and recreation staff and helped them run the facility on the promise that they give this facility to Burbank at the end of the war. And that's exactly what they did. So that's why Olive was there. Also, the the stadium that was there. The St. Louis Browns, he invited them into town in I think 1947, shortly after the war, to use that facility as their spring training. He did that for a couple, 3 years, and brought revenue into Burbank. And also, he got a bond issue for McCambridge Park, and it was built in a very short amount of time. That was my park when I was younger. McCambridge Park had a Quonset hut in the lower building, which is now the tennis center in those days. And this facility, McCambridge, is still a beautiful facility. The pool that's there now, that was the first 50-meter pool, I believe, in the United States in a municipal facility. So, and this gentleman spearheaded all this. That's why I think that's just a few things. I could go into a lot more, but time constraints. But I think it's been a long time coming that a facility wasn't named after this man. And I would really like to see it be done sooner than later. I know there's cost factor. But I would really like to see if there's some alternatives down the line. We could put our thoughts together and, the Krugerberg Sports Complex, which is Olive there, something like that. Just get his name on something, and nobody's going to remember who this gentleman is. I don't know who. If he has family, it'd be great if he did, but his last park that he spearheaded to be built in Burbank was Brace Canyon Park. And in 1961, they opened that, and I had the privilege of playing baseball there their first summer. And now it's, they had the park, the parking lot, and the building up there that was, they ran the summer parks out of there. And then the rest of the tennis and everything else came in at a later date. And neighborhood at first didn't want that up there. And a park board member, Mr. Bob Lundigan, who was really a historic figure in Burbank, he's the one that pushed it through because he had 2 daughters and they lived in that neighborhood. So it's a long story, but it's really due time that this man had something named in his memory and honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mickey. Rob?
Well, Megan, what do you, just, I won't live to see that one. That's 100 years away. I agree with Mickey. If we're going to do it, what do you think about, given his connection to Olive Park, our upcoming breezy renovation to a part of that? The walkway.
Use your mic.
The Krukenberg walkway, there's a zillion new, areas, and that's the park where he got his start. And I don't think there are any naming changes to deal with because we haven't even built it yet. So even maybe a room within the new complex, like maybe the Krukenberg admin office. There's a zillion ways, given that it's not there yet, but that's the next thing that we're doing. What do you think about, not only for this gentleman who's been dead a long time, but I want to honor our board member's request who has a kind of a vivid memory of all this. I think that would be nice. You are not going to play in this park that they're talking about. It's just,
Speak for yourself.
It's got to be. Well, okay, maybe you will. Maybe you will. All right.
Far down the line.
Okay. But I would like to see something a little bit more, I don't know, Marissa, is there any room within our new Olive complex to acknowledge this gentleman?
Absolutely. So I would just kind of take a step back. We absolutely, and I know Board Member DePaulo's request, and this is something that he brought up, several years, last time he was on the board. I think what staff's intention was to name something like new, right? Instead of like renaming a park, even though there is that connection, people will still and may still refer to Brace Park or whatever park if it's renamed after that name. I know like Maxim Park, some folks still refer to it as Lundigan Park. So I think there was it wasn't a deliberate attempt to delay it. It was more like a brand new park. Something that's new and innovative was staff's angle in terms of this staff report. But I absolutely understand that doing something sooner seems to be the direction. We do have the Olive Rec Center that's going to be rebuilt. That certainly can be renamed, or an aspect of that park. McCambridge Pool will be, or the McCambridge Pool will be redone. That's another potential naming facility or opportunity to name. And there is that connection, right, with Mr. Krugerberg's pioneering of that pool. It may or may not be big enough, right? May not be, maybe want a bigger facility. Further down, so I would say the pool will be done sooner than later. Olive Rec Center, we're looking at about 5 years out because that project's moving forward. And then we have the Starlight Bowl, which is going to follow closely behind Olive Rec Center, but we're still working on that. So those are three potential naming opportunities if you want something new. Certainly, we can rename a park if that is the board's desire and request, and we would take that to the council for them to approve that, and we'd move forward. The costs would be, there would be a cost in terms of a new signage, but is it, something that's, astronomical? No. It would just be, a new sign and just rebranding all of that, but it's not cost prohibitive. That would probably be the soonest, least expensive option. But if there is a desire to, McCambridge Pool is going to be pretty fantastic with activity pools and something different than what's there now. But Olive Rec Center is probably the next biggest project where that could be an opportunity for naming.
Go ahead, Mick.
One quick thing, as far as the softball, baseball complex at Olive, that was where what he did when he was at that park, like I mentioned before, as far as the building itself, but also he put the lighting on the field there for Lockheed employees to be able to come over and the different shifts to have their recreation. They had a industrial softball program where the different Lockheed, all the industry in Burbank, it was a special softball league for them that he came up with. And I'm thinking, if you do something maybe a little earlier, and that could be incorporated into the new Olive the building and the Performing Arts Center, would be the Dewey Krugerberg softball complex, a softball baseball complex, and have a little plaque with a background. He's literally the father of this department. And look back, there's so many people that came before us who makes us the great programs we are today. Our department just continues to get better and better and better. But we had people that laid the groundwork for what's happening today, and especially this gentleman. And during the war, that's where the offices were there and everything else. So I think that would, if something in the Olive area that could be done, and I'm thinking, if it was immediate or whatever, relatively speaking, the softball area there. And then you still keep the names of the fields, Bill Burton Field, Barbara Round Field, and the other names on there. I think that might work. I don't know. It's just a suggestion. Thank you.
Maisha?
So to clarify, Mickey, you're not talking about, or what my understanding is, it doesn't need to be huge scale. You'd rather do something sooner than later, and something that's meaningful, though, right?
Right. I think due to the fact, or if there even something at McCambridge Park, but like I said before, his last park that he bought into Burbank, so to speak, when he was department head, was Brace Park. But the cost, a lot of cost overrun, so I understand that. That would have been ideal. But, Olive could be 5 years down the line. It might be more. I don't know. but I know damn good and well I plan on being there for the opening of that. And, I'll only be so many years old. So I plan on being there, but, something that, I like things to happen. And that would be my suggestion, but I'm open to, I don't want to sit there and just have blinders on. I want to be flexible in my thinking, and I respect what the board and our department, what their decisions are. I would fully respect that. I'm just suggesting something that would maybe move the process a little faster.
Thank you, Mickey. Ashley?
Thank you.
I do like the idea of, as Board Member DiPaolo is saying, like moving a bit faster, if that's, that's obviously very important. So maybe something a little, not an entire park, but maybe an important component of an existing park. It's a good idea.
My thoughts are, Mickey's obviously pointed out the importance that this gentleman played in our city. So I think we need to honor him the right way. So I think renaming an existing wouldn't do him the justice. I work in naming rights and sponsorships, and people always remember the original name. Like, people still are going to call Staples Center. And Crypto.com paid how many hundreds of millions of dollars for that, but people still call it. So my point being, I want to make sure he gets the credit the right way and not, rename a park. So I think with that, what would be helpful is if you guys can help us maybe supply a list, and it sounds like Olive sounds like the right kind of venue where he did his most work. So maybe a list of immediate type of things that we can do, and then how can that be incorporated into when the new park is done? It's just an automatic, it's already going to, this softball complex or whatever it is. Just think if you can give us a couple options, and then more immediately, and then incorporate that name, move it into the new done Olive.
One more question. Now, is the design, the softball area is going to stay the same? There's no, okay. So to me, that's a viable reason to maybe call that the Dewey Krugerberg Sports Complex or softball complex, or they play other sports on there too. So not as much, but not really organized things. But they used to have the flag football program there years ago, but. That might be an option, but like I said, I know we can discuss it further, and we've waited for a while, so we can wait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I like the Olive Park idea, and I like the chair's idea of maybe give us a list of all the things. I'm big on the horseshoe area, the Krugerberg Horseshoe Complex. That doesn't even have a name, and that I think would be something that could be really immediate, because that's not even on the list to be changed. If the idea is, let's use that park as our base and figure out what can we do there that's easy. And I think you board members know I live across the street from that park, so I'm looking at it every day. There's an area where people do Tai Chi every day, kind of a seniors that I'm not even sure if that's a city program or but that also could have its own name as the Krugerberg meditation area. It's a part of the, the part I'm talking. It used to be the shuffleboard tournament, and now it is sort of a Tai Chi exercise area. That's what I look at out my front door. So I do see people enjoying that, and I don't think that has its own name. It's just Ise Park.
It's the Jocelyn Oasis.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's got to go.
So if I'm understanding, it's the board's desire for staff to come back with several options at Isaiah Park where there could be some naming opportunities, immediate and maybe into the future, whether it's a Krugerberg Sports Complex and Rec Center, right? So the complex can be done immediately, and his name on the building will happen once we have a new building there. So there's like an immediate, and then there's a bigger having a building as well. So maybe that could be a potential option as well. So that I agree, and we did, I've done some reading on Mr. Krugerberg, and he did do a lot of amazing things. And so to have his name on a building could be something, and it's a brand new building, right? And that could be a really nice way to also commemorate him and his contribution. So we're happy to come back with a second step or an additional report with some potential options for the board to consider. And then once we get those marching orders, we'll move forward with that.
Yeah, I think a list of options of
Sure.
like, here's what we can do now, and then here's how we see this that can scale when we redo the park, something
Correct.
along those lines. And obviously, it sounds like he's an important figure in our city. So let's think of options that honor that. And
Correct.
I mean, I know you wouldn't, but not shove him in the corner somewhere.
Absolutely.
But something that would honor that. So, any other comments, feedback, Nikki?
Real quick, thank you, Marissa. I don't want to say I was the first one to bring this up because I wasn't. Several years ago, a gentleman that was at work with Mr. Krugerberg, Kenny Wattenberger, he was a recreation supervisor in Burbank, and he also worked at Lockheed Employees Recreation Club, which is over at Grosse Park now. And he left Burbank, went over to work for Lockheed. But he wrote a letter several years ago that a park needed to be named after Mr. Krugerberg. So I wasn't the first one that came up with that idea. I have to give that credit to Kenny. Thank you.
I think we're good on this topic. So thank you, Megan.
Thank you. Do we need a motion?
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, I think that concludes our new business. So now we'll move on to the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine by department staff and may be enacted on by the board by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless before the board votes on the motion to approve the recommendations, board members, staff, or public request specific items be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Removed consent items will be discussed separately. Do we have a motion to?
I motion to approve the consent calendar as is.
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Aye. I don't think we have any tabled items, right? Okay. Any final comments from the board about anything that you'd like to bring up, discuss?
I just want to, I'm sorry. Just want to say again how wonderful the opening of the McCambridge Accessibility Park was. It was just a great event, great to be there. Yeah, it was just, the community coming out to support that is really great.
I just wanted to echo our vice chair's comments, and I'm sorry he's not here because we were clapping for everyone except for the one that led the clapping. And Mr. Altman, Noah, really was all over that adaptive sports. That guy was in 50 places at once, and he let me hold the giant scissors, which are surprisingly heavy. You may remember, I think I almost gave you a trim there because we were right next to the ribbon. And but Noah really did an amazing job. I also want to give a tip of the hat to the Betsy Lukey Art Center. Has an amazing production the first Friday of the month, and this one, which celebrated who was it that put on the
Fine
the
Arts
show?
Federation.
Fine Arts Federation I felt like I was at a Manhattan art opening. It was packed, and also largely led by Noah and Aaron. So just I go to these things, and I can't even believe I'm a part of it because they're so well run, and that was an amazing one. And the one next month, I hope we can all go, which salutes Burbank youth. So this is Art Awards for K through 12. So that should be a fun event. I'm hoping we have Klieg lights and dress up, and that's going to be an amazing event. So right, hats off, staff. Thanks.
Thank you. You know what, Noah is a wonderful example of somebody who comes on with the city and starting at a work trainee level or recreation facility. I can't remember whatever the names are now. I'm unfamiliar with some of them. And I also want to single out Miss Smith here too, who started out in the summer parks program, and now she's in management. And so this shows what our department does. You know, I think number one, we really know how to hire good people, and this is what comes about. This is what makes our department, people that come here usually stay for a while because they know that this is the top of the line as far as a municipal recreation program goes, and I mean that sincerely. And that's why we realize its success, because of all the people here today and the people that are the staff, the public's first view of what we're all about. When you walk in a recreation center, there's a 19-year-old person there who welcomes you, and it just puts our department on a real positive path, and this is what happens. So congratulations to Noah and everybody that worked I wish I could have been there. I had to be at a VFW function in Ventura, but I'd much rather have been here. So next year I will be there. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Mickey. Yeah, I just want to quickly, obviously, I think we've all echoed the same sentiment about the Adaptive Sports Expo and the amount of work that went into that. But I do want to give a quick special shout out to Steve Starleaf, because he continually opens up his facility to these types of things. And so I know they've got a busy calendar, and just to open it up to these types of events is really, really important. So I just want to call him out. And then I also had the privilege to go to an event there on Sunday, put on by an Armenian, it's called the Arat Home Minutemen organization. It's a scouting and athletics organization. And, Steve opened up his doors to them, and they had a top 50 professional women's tennis player that's Armenian that was there, and they had a few hundred people. So Diego was there, and so it was really great. And so I just really want to just give a special shout to Steve just for continuing to support our department and everything he's doing with the tennis center and all these special events. So if you could pass along that note to him, that'd be great. Any new agenda items? Ashley.
I think we covered this, but just for the record, just an update on the Dick Clark Dog Park would be wonderful. Thank you.
All right. I think that covers everything for today. So appreciate everyone's time, and we will see you all on April 10th. Thank you.